I'm going to talk about software now, because alongside the iPad 2 release, as is customary, we saw a look at the latest iOS release, which is now 4.3. And alongside a few changes to the way that works, we're also going to see some new apps from Apple. And when Steve introduced these, he said, we love to develop apps.
Yeah.
We love to do it because we like to set the bar high. And I had to say, at that point I thought, wow, there's some bloody good apps out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they really that confident? And then boom, iMovie and GarageBand.
See, GarageBand none of us got, because we saw iMovie came up and
We
were
were
right, what's the next one? What's the second one? It's going to be iPhoto.
Yeah.
It's got to be iPhoto. No.
I thought it was going to be a social networking app or somewhere.
Yeah.
And then GarageBand came up and
they went, oh, that's rubbish.
But then saw the interface of what they did.
And it was impressive.
I'm so excited about that.
It's just the cleverest thing. And the thing about GarageBand is that it opens this door to people who haven't played an instrument before. If you use a Mac, you can use GarageBand not only to learn an instrument, but also to create music for the first time. And it does it in a kind of building blocks way, but at the same time it has this underlaying factor of total raw power that if you really want to do something quite impressive, you can.
Yeah.
And the demo stuff they played, you just hairs on the back of the neck going, they can't have made this on an iPad. They just can't have done. So, you know, it really was one of those sort of breakthrough moments with software and hardware combined, where you just understand that it really could change the way people.
Are there artist lessons in it? Did they show you? They
didn't show anything. So I don't think there is.
I'd be good if there were.
But I think it's going to raise the bar, and there will be, you know, apps that can use that processing power, use that graphics engine, you know, use the biggest speaker.
The fact it's accelerometer based. I mean, that surprises me that it's touch sensitive. So you hit the key, it knows how hard you're hitting it from how much the iPad moves. That's just
clever.
Crazy.
Very clever.
Yeah, I mean, awesome stuff. iMovie as well looked really, really accomplished, as much like the Mac version as it possibly could be, with the added element of great gesture interface added to it. You know, dragging and dropping clips around, zooming in, zooming out, precision editing with your finger. It just looks like it's going to be great stuff. I think the biggest problem people are going to have is they're not going to have space for enough video on there to make anything really good.
Yeah, especially if it's HD, which it will be with the new HD camera.
So I think the limitations are going to be storage, and I think that Apple going forward are going to have to find a way to get around that, because you can't have devices that thin, expect people to do that kind of high-end work on it and not have a lot of storage.
I don't see it's a space problem. I think it's a price problem, because I don't, you know, 128 gig chip isn't any bigger than a 64.
No, that's true. That's true.
You can cram it all in there. It's the price of it, and it's how much that rockets up the price of the iPad itself.
If you think about how much a MacBook Air flash, you know, SSD drive is, I mean, even just incremental, you know, increases.
They're still pricey.
Yeah, I mean, and Apple do actually get a good deal on what they do get, because they're the biggest buyer of SSD
flash memory
in the world. So.
But I mean, looking at the new MacBooks, which we're going to talk about on another video, if you want to put an SSD drive in there instead of another drive, you can add, it's up to like $1,100.
Yeah. But that shouldn't.
Obviously, it's not the same.
It's not a true reflection, because if you buy RAM from a third-party company, you get it for
you get it
much cheaper than you would through Apple. True. But there's still in this global climate at the moment, flash memory is A, in massive demand, and B, still very expensive. So there's not a lot that can be done about that.
FaceTime. Are you excited about FaceTime on the iPad?
Not so much. They kind of skipped over it. Scott Forstall came on and did a sort of slowish demo, and he said there's a bit of fun here. There's got photo booth. We've got 2 cameras, but to all intents and purposes, they didn't really hammer it home like I expected them to do. The whole camera thing was just like, it was an add-on. It's got cameras now. You kind of wanted them, so we've given it to you.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think, you know, they prefer not to put cameras on the iPad, but they want FaceTime on everything, and everybody else wants FaceTime.
And everyone wants cameras. They want.
So I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see if that gets the uptake that we expect.
Yeah.
I mean, FaceTime's one of those things that, as long as you know enough people that have got it, it's great.
Yeah, I think it's a creeper. I think more and more people will start to get it, more and more people will start to use it. In a couple of years' time, you wonder how you lived without it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be like that.
But yeah, the cameras, they look pretty cool. The graphics processing of the whole thing, with photo booth running, you could have it taking a feed of your face and then throwing it into 9 different video feeds, all live, real time, with different effects on it, and then you can manipulate the effects with your finger, which is really
I remember I first got photo booth running on an old Mac. I had an iSight camera in there. It was a G5 iMac, all in one. and it would run, but it was so slow.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the frame rate was horrendous, and now you're watching that running in HD on an iPad.
Yeah,
That's just crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
brilliant.
insane. So yeah, I think there's lots to come from the video and the camera element of the iPad.
A lot to come from gaming. I think gaming's going to be huge on this.
Well, just think what Dead Space does now. With those
or
graphics.
how good Infinity Blade looks,
exactly.
and then 9 times faster graphics.
Yeah, there's going to be some big news
impressive.
coming out. I think it's going to be one of those releases where everyone says, "Oh, they don't need it," but then more and more people around them have them.
Underwhelming. That's how I heard it described by. I think it was the Guardian described it as Apple's iPad release. Underwhelming.
Really?
You think underwhelming to who? I'm quite whelmed.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that. I think maybe those guys just don't get the potential. Maybe that's something that we see that they don't. You know, because we don't see what's there now. We see the apps that will be on it in 6 months. We see the other people using it in 6 months, and we see the development of an ecosystem that's going to continue to grow based on what we've seen already. Yeah. So I see 9 months down the line, iPads everywhere. I mean, they said that in the whole point of the keynote was to hammer home 2011, the year of the iPad too.
I think that's also to make the point there is not an iPad 3 coming out in September.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what all the rumours have said. It's like, this is the iPad, really the 1.5.
Yeah.
The real iPad 2 is coming September, and I think they went out there big with that slide that said 2011, the year of the iPad 2.
Yeah.
And you think, we're not releasing one in September, let it go.
Well, they'd be silly to now, because I mean, all those people that were thinking about getting one are going to wait till it's in the Apple Store. They're going to walk in, they're going to play with one, they're going to see that it's like a giant iPod Touch the way they are now. It's that thin.
Yeah.
And they're just going to say, well, no, there's no reason for me not to get one.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not heavy. You know, they do what I want. The battery lasts forever, and I can just throw away that old netbook that I've been using.
Good things.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up this video here now, and we're going to come back with another video talking about some more amazing Apple releases that have happened this month. It's been a huge month for Apple.
Yeah.
So tune back in soon for another video. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
See ya.